Hi, and thanks for joining us for our class today. So for today's class, we're going to start by warming up our legs and arms in standing, and then we're going to roll down onto the mat into 4-point kneeling and into a press-up position. I'm going to have a go at some press-ups today. Then we're going to stay in 4-point kneeling and do a little bit more core control and some stretches before we come down onto our sides and work our glutes a little bit more, and then round onto our backs to do some bridging and one-leg stretch movements to really challenge that core a little bit further. And finishing, as always, with some great leg stretches and upper body stretches to cool down. Hope you enjoy the class today. Remember, just go to whatever level suits you, and most importantly, we want you to enjoy the class. Let's get started. So we're going to start by finding our neutral position. So we're going to bring those toes apart and those heels apart, so those feet that hip width distance. Just to start with, we're going to transfer that weight onto the front of your toes, then back onto your heels. So just gently forwards and back from here. And just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements, so that weight's going nice and evenly down through your feet. Fantastic. Knees nice and soft and not locked back. Hands up onto your pelvis, then very gently we're going to tilt that pelvis forwards and then tilting it back. So just a gentle movement forwards and back. Again, just look to find that midpoint between those two movements, so that pelvis in that nice neutral position. That core is gently engaged, those ribs soft, collarbones wide, and that neck nice and long and lifted. Great. Okay, so we're going to float our hands up to shoulder height, and we're going to start with our bow and arrow movement. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to reach one arm back and away, and then coming forwards. Good, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching round, breath in. As you breathe out, coming back. So we're just opening out through that chest, rotating through that upper back. So those hips are staying relatively forward. So we're opening out, looking around with that head as well, just following with that arm, and coming back to that centre. Good. So just warming up through that upper body. We'll just do a few more here. Reaching around and back. Reaching around and back again. Lovely. Last few. Good. And back. And one more each side. And again. And back to that centre. Well done. Relax those arms back down, relaxing those shoulders. Good. So elbows into your side, neck nice and long. We're going to open out our chest a little bit more. So we take a breath in. As we breathe out, open those hands out, squeeze the shoulder blades gently back and forwards. Good. And again, opening out, squeeze those shoulder blades gently back and forwards. So just opening out through that chest, keep those shoulders down so that neck is staying long. Opening out and back. Good. And again. Now on this next one, we're going to open out, squeeze the shoulder blades, coming back, and then as we come back, we're going to push those hands, squeezing back again, bring those arms back. Good, opening out, push back and away. Still that neck is long, my shoulders are down, that's it, good, and push back and away. Good, so just really engaging those shoulder blade muscles, push back and away. Good, and again, opening out, squeezing gently back, and push back and away. Lovely, last few. Opening out. Push back and away. Lovely. Just really keeping that neck long so that top of the head's really lifted through that crown. Good. And push back and away. Lovely. Let's do one more. Opening out. And then push back and away. Lovely. Back to that centre. Good. And relax those arms down. Just relax those shoulders here. So we're going to go straight into our balance series from here. So keeping those feet that hip width distance, we're going to float our hands up to shoulder height, neck nice and long. Come up onto those toes. Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. And again, float those hands up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. And again, float those hands up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, lifting up, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. So those knees are going over those toes, staying that hip width distance apart, so you shouldn't be knocking in or going wider. So lifting up, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. And again, reaching up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. Now this time, if you can, we're going to float our hands up to the ceiling, keep those ribs soft, come up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. And again, floating up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Good. Keep that core engaged. Rising up, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Last few. Lifting up onto those toes, bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Well done. One last one. Reaching up onto those toes, Bend the knees, lower the feet and down. Lovely, and relax down here. Okay, so we're going to warm up our legs a little bit more into a one-leg circle. So we're going to stand on one leg. The leg you're standing on is going to work hard so that knee's nice and soft, pelvis staying nice and level. And just to start with, either just keeping that toe in contact with the floor, and we're going to come around in a circle, or if you can, we're going to flex the foot and keep it hovering above the floor and circling around from here. So keeping that pelvis nice and level, keeping up nice and tall. That core is engaged, lovely. Circling around from here. Good. So this leg that you're standing on is working hard to support you, keeping that core engaged, well done. Now let's change direction of that circle. So coming around, well done. Circling round, lovely. Last few, keep up nice and tall, keep that centre, well done. And let's do one more circle here. And then back to that centre and lower back down. Excellent. Okay, so same on the other side. So that leg you're standing on, working hard, that knee's soft. Now either keeping that toe in contact with the floor, so you can just circle it around, or hover that foot above. Now that circle is as big as you can control, so keep that control there. That pelvis staying level, coming around and back. This knee is nice and soft on that leg you're standing on. Good. So coming around, lovely, keeping up nice and tall, that core engaged, well done. Good. And let's change direction, excellent, last few. Keeping that control, that core engaged, up nice and tall, well done. Lovely. And let's just do one last circle around. And then back to that centre and lovely back down. Excellent. Okay, so bring those toes and heels apart a little bit wider, and then those toes so they're pointing out in that sort of 45-degree angle. We're going to do our side plie here. So take a breath in. As you breathe out, dropping down. Then we're going to reach our arm up and over. Breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Now staying here, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching the opposite arm over. Breath in here. As you breathe out, back to that centre, and then lifting back up. Fantastic. Let's do that again. So breath in. As you breathe out, drop down. Reach the arm over. Breath in here. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, opposite arm over. Breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre, and lift back up. Fantastic. One last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, drop down. Reach the arm over. Breath in here. As you breathe out, back to the centre, staying there, and again opposite side, reaching over, breath in to hold. As you breathe out, back to that centre and raising back up. Fantastic. Okay, so bring those feet back to that hip width distance apart, and we're going to do a few roll downs just to get our backs moving a little bit more. So breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, just rolling that chin, curling down into that C shape, rolling down towards the floor. Breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly restacking back up into standing. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling slowly down towards the floor. Breath in here. As you breathe out, restacking gently back up into standing. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Breath in here. As you breathe out, gently restack that spine, peeling back up into standing. Okay, now I'm going to come to the end of my mat and do one more. We're going to roll down into 4-point kneeling in a second. So breath in. As you breathe out, tuck that chin down, rolling those hands slowly down towards the floor. Now I'm going to hold this position, breath in. As you breathe out, sink down that little bit further if you can. Breath in. As you breathe out, sinking down. Then we're going to soften those knees and walk our hands slowly down into 4-point kneeling. And we're going to continue our class from here. Okay, so we come down into 4-point kneeling, and we're going to continue the class from here. So make sure those elbows aren't locked back, so just nice and soft. Those hands are under those shoulders. We're going to start with a few press-up movements, so you can just bring those knees just back slightly from your hip position, as we normally start in. And we're going to just start doing 8 press-ups here. So we're just going to stick with the level 2, and we're just going to lower that breastbone down towards the floor, and then come back up. And again, lowering down and back up. Good. So we do 3 here. Good. And again, 4. So just that hairline's going down to the floor, but that breastbone, you're trying to just come in between those hands. Good. 6 here, 7 and 8, and coming back to that center. Very good. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Just loading up through those arms, just bringing that chest, that breastbone down towards the floor, so in between those hands, and that hairline coming down along with it. So keeping that chin tucked in, my back staying straight, and we're going to do that again. So we're just going to, if you want to, you can also raise the feet. Sometimes people find that more comfortable. It's up to you. And again, so we're going to go 8, 7, 6, 5, good, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then back up and lower back down. Very good. Okay, we're going to do one more set of these, okay? So again, either raising the feet if you want to, or you can keep them down, it doesn't matter. Just dropping that forward slightly, okay, so your back is straight. And we're going to do 8 more. So we're going to go 8, 7, breastbone in between those hands, 6, 5, 4, keep that chin tucked in, 3, 2, and 1, and then back up from there. Very good. Let's just come off those wrists and stretch out, drop down into that child pose stretch, and just relax down from there. Good. Just stretch out those arms. Breath in and out here. Just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. Just relax through those shoulders. Good. Breath in and out, sinking down. And again, breath in and out, relaxing down. Good. And then we're just going to come back up into 4-point kneeling from here. Very good. Okay, so we're going to stretch out a little bit more now and do sort of threading the needle movement. So I just want you to, with one hand, reach up, look up and around, then use that hand tucking under and through. So if you're threading that needle and sliding that hand along the floor, going back up to that center. We're going to alternate sides, so opposite arm, reach up, look up, tuck that arm through and under, slide that hand along the floor and back up. Good. And again, opposite arm, reaching up, look round and back, tuck under, bring that hand through, back up and back to that start. Good. And opposite side, so lifting up, coming round, tuck through and under, rotating the upper body back to that center. Good. And again, reaching up, coming through and under, lovely, and back up. So we're really rotating through that upper spine, following it round with your head, so getting a little bit of rotation through that neck as well, and back up. Good. And again, reaching up, tuck through and under, back to the center. Let's do one last one here. Reach up, and tucking that arm through and under, back to that center. Very good. Okay, so keeping this position, so those knees underneath those hips, hands under those shoulders. Make sure those elbows are nice and soft, so not locked back. The insides of the elbows should be facing each other. That core's gently engaged, my back's flat, so just tuck that pelvis under a little bit if you need to, making sure you're in that neutral position. Okay, so we're going to go into our swimming movement now. So just to begin with, we're going to lengthen one leg away, just going parallel with the floor, and then back. Good. And again, opposite leg, lengthening away, and then back. So make sure as you lengthen that leg away, you're not letting your back arch, or you're tilting at your pelvis, you're keeping that pelvis nice and stable, nice and flat, keeping that level. Imagine you've got that tray of drinks on your back, you don't want it to spill, okay? So keeping that level. Now if you're managing to do that okay, then we can add that opposite arm lengthening movement. Now your head should be looking down at the mat, not looking at your feet, so you're keeping that neck nice and long as you're lengthening opposite arm. Sometimes you see people trying to do too big a movement with this exercise, and actually you're trying to lengthen through that body, but keep that stability, keep that control, and you're lengthening opposite arm, opposite leg. Good. Neck staying long, so keep that chin tucked in. Well done. Extending opposite arm, opposite leg. Good. And again. Keeping that control, that core gently lifted, that belly button just lifted up towards your spine. That's it. Good. Again. And opposite lengthening. Last few here. Keeping that control. Well done. And again, opening out. Well done. And let's do one more each side. Controlling that movement. Good. Opposite arm. Back to that centre, very good. And let's drop down off those wrists and have a little stretch here. So just breathing in and out. On that out breath if you can, just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. Breath in. As you breathe out, just dropping that bottom down onto those heels. Well done. Breath in and out. Sinking down just that little bit further. Good. And out. Just walking those hands slowly back up. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to carry on and come down onto our side. So if you've got a thicker block or any little sort of pillow or towel, you can just use that to support your neck. Then you can use that now. But we're going to come down. Just have that under our head, just to sort of keep that neck nice length and position. Okay, so we're just going to work a little bit more onto our sides. So to begin with, we're going to stretch out both legs, keeping those hips really stacked on top of each other, that core gently engaged. And we're going to just start by lifting this top leg just to hip height and then lower back down. So we're lifting that top leg just to hip height and then lower. Keeping that core engaged, lift up and lower, those hips staying stacked as we're lifting and lowering. Now either staying here, or if you want to, you have that hand in front for a little bit of balance, but imagine it's on a little meringue or something you don't want to squash. So just fingertip touching here, and then we can lift the lower leg to join, and then we're going to lower them down together. Keeping that core engaged as you lift the top leg, bring the lower leg to join, and lower down together. So we can take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, raise that top leg, lower leg to join, breath in again, and as you breathe out, lower down. So it's a nice controlled movement as we're lifting and lowering, okay? So keeping that control as you lower down and as you lift up. Good. But if that's a bit confusing, just make sure you're not holding your breath. It's just about keeping that controlled movement nice and slow, nice and controlled. Hips staying stacked, good. Lifting and lowering. Well done. Keeping going here. Good. Just make sure that hand is just touching on the floor, not pushing, not bracing through the upper body. Neck nice and relaxed, upper body relaxed. If you don't need that hand, you can just rest it onto your hips, just making sure they're staying stacked and just keeping that control from here. Good. Breath in, prepare. As you breathe out, lift up. Breath in again as you lower down on that out breath. Good. Keeping that control, hips staying stacked. Well done. And again. And lowering. Well done. If you've got that hand in front for a little bit of balance, don't brace through that arm. Keep it soft. Keep that transfer of weight soft, so the fingertips only. Make sure you haven't squashed your meringue. That's it. Good. Last few here. Let's just do one last one. And lowering down. Well done. Bend those knees up. Give that muscle a little rub. Okay, so we're going to keep our knees bent up, keeping those hips stacked, and we're going to go into a clam movement from here. So if we can, we're going to lift our feet straight up into level 2. So keep those feet in that hip height position. Too much, you can keep them down and just lift up and lower from here if you want to. So the feet up, we're going to lift up that top knee and lower back down. Still keeping those hips stacked on top of each other. Make sure they're not rolling back. Keeping that waist lengthened and lifted underneath here. Good. So we're lifting and lowering. Keeping those hips stacked as we lift and lower. Good. And we're going to lift, lower. Next one, we're going to lift, keep that knee lifted, and we're going to and tap. We're going to go 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2. Keep this leg extended if you can. We'll do a little circle round one way. Circling that direction, good, and round the opposite direction, circling that leg, and back to that centre, and then stretch and tap, last 8, well done, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, and lower those knee back down, lower that feet down, come back, give that muscle rub, just have a rest here. If you want to just drop that leg in front for a second just to give that a little stretch out there. Well done. Okay, so we're going to do the same onto the opposite side. So we're going to come round and over onto that opposite side to do the same again, even ourselves out. So if you come round, Down onto that opposite side. We're going to come down onto the side again. Okay, so as we did before, having our legs just straight out in front of us. Just so you can see the fronts of your toes just there. Those hips are stacked on top of each other. That core's gently engaged again from here. And to begin with, we're just going to start by lifting that top leg just to hip height and then lower back down. And again, top leg lifted just to that hip height and then lower. Top leg lifted and lower. So just keeping that control as we're lifting and lowering. Good, making sure those hips are staying stacked, that core's engaged as you lift and lower from here. Good, so we're just lifting that top leg just to that hip height, no higher. And then if you can, we'll take a breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, lift up the top leg, bring the lower leg to join and lower down together. Maybe you want that hand in front for a little bit of balance as we had before, but make sure you're not pushing through the mat here or pushing through those fingertips. It's just very light pressure. So imagine you've got that little meringue there, you don't want to squash. It's just hovering over and relaxing. Keep those shoulders relaxed, that neck lengthened as you're lifting and lowering. So breath in to prepare. As you breathe out, lift up, breath in and lower down together. Good. So just keep repeating that here in your own time as we're lifting and lowering. Good. Fingertips, make sure not too much pressure, upper body relaxed. If you don't need your hand there, you can just pop it on your waist. Just feel what's happening, keeping those hips stacked. It's up to you. Good. So keeping that control as you're lifting and lowering. Well done. And lowering, core engaged, lift up and lower. Well done. Few more here. And again. And lower. Make sure those hips are staying stacked, that core's engaged as you lift up and lower down. Well done. Last. Do one last one here, lifting up and lowering down. Well done. Bend those knees up. Very good. Give that muscle a rest here. Excellent. Okay, so as we did before, we're going to work a little bit more into our clam movement. Now, either staying with your feet down, lifting up as we've done before, or we can raise our feet up to hip height if you can today. So keeping those hips stacked, that core's engaged, waist lengthened, we're going to lift up that top knee and lower. And again, lift up the top knee and lower back down. Keeping that control as you're lifting and lowering. Good. Lift up and lower. Keeping those hips stacked as you lift and lower. Now, if you can, on this next one, we're going to lift up that top knee, keep it raised, and we're going to stretch and tap for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on this next one, we're going to keep the leg there, and we're going to do a few little circles around one way. Good. Controlling that movement. And we're going to go in the opposite direction. Controlling that hip. Control through here. Good. And then coming back to that center. And we're going to stretch and tap again for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and coming back, lower that knee back down, lower those feet down, and just let that leg relax. Good, and just give that muscle a little stretch out here. Very good. So we work that hard. Okay, so from here, we're going to come around onto our backs just to work our core a little bit more. So just drop that block behind you. We're going to come around onto our backs from here. So down to our backs in this position, we're going to start with a one leg stretch movement, but we're just going to find that neutral position to start with. So just bring those feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Just to begin with, we're going to tilt that pelvis forwards and back, just like we do in standing. Just looking to find that neutral position, that midpoint between those two movements. So our pelvis in that neutral spine. That core is gently engaged, my ribs are soft, collarbones nice and wide, neck long, and that chin just gently tucked in from here. Good, okay, so we're going to do our one leg stretch movement, as we've been doing all through this month. So we're going to bring one leg up into single tabletop. From here, we're going to lengthen one leg away, come back into tabletop, and then lower down. Good, and then opposite leg to tabletop, lengthen the leg away, come back, and then lower. So making sure as you lengthen the leg away, we're keeping that pelvis level, not letting that back arch as you lengthen the leg back down. Good. And again, opposite leg lifted, lengthen the leg away, come back and then lower. Good. Now if that's comfortable, we can safely bring both into double tabletop, keeping that tummy nice and flat, that back in neutral, and lengthening one leg and then the opposite leg. Good. So again, keeping that control, making sure that pelvis is staying level. I'm not losing my neutral spine position as I lengthen the leg away. Good. So I'm reaching that leg to that opposite wall in that diagonal direction. Okay. So reaching away and back. And again, reaching away. Keeping that control. Now either continuing here or as we've done before, if you want to just make that a little bit faster, we can use our hands just placing on that bent knee and we stretch the opposite leg and then we're switching. We can increase the speed a little bit here and breathing in for about 2 cycles and then breathe out for about 2 cycles. So I'm just keeping that control of the movement still. My tummy's still staying flat, that pelvis still is a neutral position, and I'm breathing in and out, and in and out. So keeping that movement going here if you can, just adding that little bit of speed to that movement. Well done. Good. Keeping that control as we're moving through here. Good. Breathing in for about 2 and out for 2. Lovely, well done. Keep going here if you can. Remember, you've got those other options. If it starts to feel too much, just do last few here. Well done. Good. Last few. And one more breath in and out. And then we'll just bring those legs in. Let's bring those knees in and have a little hug and just stretch out that lower back. Well done. So breathing in. On that out breath if you can, just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. Breath in. As you breathe out, just sinking down into that stretch just a little bit more if you can. Okay, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, relaxing down into that stretch just a little bit further. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, sinking down that little bit further if you can. Well done. And we're just going to lower those legs back down one at a time, back to that start position. Okay, so we're going to go into a bridge movement now. So feet and knees that hip width distance apart. Just to begin with, we're just going to tilt that pelvis forwards and back. Just looking to find that midpoint between those two movements. So that pelvis in a nice neutral position still. That core's engaged, arms relaxed down by your side, and that head and chin's just tucked in slightly. Okay, so we're going to go into a bridge movement. So we'll take a breath in all together. As you breathe out, we're going to tuck that pelvis under. Use those bottom muscles lifting up into a bridge. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, using those bottom muscles, slowly peeling that spine back down, back to that start. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those toe muscles coming up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, slowly lowering back down to that start. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, slowly peeling down, walking that spine back down to the mat. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Take a breath in here. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis, slowly peeling back down, back to that start. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up into that bridge. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, slowly peeling back down to that start. Good, and again, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use the bottom muscles, lifting you up into this pelvic position. Keep that pelvis level, okay? Don't let those the bottoms drop as you come up. Try to keep that level of the pelvis as you lift up into this bridge. Nice level pelvis, breath in. As you breathe out, peeling back down, back to the start. Good, last few here, tucking under, using those bottom muscles, lifting up. Breath in. As you breathe out, walking that spine slowly down, keeping those bottoms engaged, coming back down to the start. Good, one more time, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, use those bottom muscles, lifting up. Breath in here. And as you breathe out, peeling slowly back down to that start. Good. Okay, so we're going to do a bridge again, but this time we're going to combine in our hip twist movement. So we're going to take a breath in. As we breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge. Now keeping that bottom lifted, we're just going to let one knee fall out to the side, come back to that centre, and then to the opposite side, and back up. Good, and again, dropping the knee over, come back to that centre, and again, so keeping that bottom lifted, keeping that pelvis level, just doing that small movement, opening out through that hips. One more time here. Good, back to the centre, breath in. As you breathe out, peeling back to that start. Very good. Okay, we're going to do that again. I'm going to aim to do 4 each side, so breath in. As you breathe out, lifting up. Good. And then we're going to keep that bottom engaged, drop 1 out to the side. Good. And 2. Keeping that pelvis level. And 3. Good. And 4. Coming back to that centre, breath in here. As you breathe out, walking that pelvis slowly back down to the mat. Good, let's do that one more time, aiming for 4 each side. Okay, breath in. As you breathe out, tucking that pelvis under, lifting up into that bridge, keeping that bottom engaged, that pelvis level, and then we're just going to drop each side. Good, and 2. And 3. And 4. Back to that centre, breath in. As you breathe out, peeling slowly back down to that start. Good, have a quick hug if you want to. Just stretch out that back, relaxing from here. Excellent. Okay, so let's stretch a little bit more and go into our rotation movement. So either our arms down by your side or out to the side of you. We're going to drop those knees over to one side, turn your head to the opposite side if you can, and then using those toe muscles, slowly bring those knees back to that centre, and then over to that opposite side. Using those toe muscles, bring the knees back to that centre, and then again over to that opposite side. Well done. Again, using those toe muscles, coming back up, and then over to that opposite side. Well done. So we're just rotating side to side from here, opening out through that back, just using those toe muscles to bring the knees back to that centre, and then over to that opposite side again. So really enjoying this stretch. It's a lovely stretch, just opening out through that back, turning your head to that opposite side, just giving you a little bit of a neck stretch there as well, and increasing that stretch slightly. Good, so just dropping over, turning that head, using the toe muscles, coming back to that centre, then over to that opposite side. Good, so just rotating here, side to side, back to the centre, and over to that opposite side. Well done. And again, dropping over, turning that head, using the tummy muscles, going back to that centre, and then over to the opposite side. Good. Last few here, dropping over, using those toe muscles, coming back to the centre, and then over to that opposite side. Good. Let's just do one more each side. Drop those knees over, turning that head, coming back to that centre, and over to that opposite side again. Use the toe muscles, coming back to the centre. Relax those arms back down by your side. Very good. Okay, so let's stretch out through those bottom muscles. So we're going to put one foot onto the opposite knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay here. Or if you can, bring the other leg up and towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable. Just going to hold this stretch. Good. Breath in. As you breathe out, just sinking down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. If you still can't feel it, we can just drop to that side you're holding slightly, just to increase that stretch into the bottom there. Good. Breathing in and out. As you breathe out, sinking down that little bit further if you can. Good. Breath in and out, just relaxing down into that stretch. Well done. Good. And let's do one more breath in and out here. And sinking down that little bit further. Good. And then just lowering the leg back down. And we do the same on the opposite side. So opposite foot onto the other knee. Allow that leg just to relax open there. If that's enough of a stretch, then just stay there. Or if you can, we're going to bring the other leg up in towards you, just as far as you feel comfortable. And we're going to hold this stretch here. So breathing in and out. On the out breath, if you can, just sink down into that stretch a little bit further if you can. Holding that there. If you still can't feel that stretch, just drop to that side you're holding slightly. breathing in and out. Just relaxing down that little bit further if you can. Good. Breath in and out, sinking down. Good. And then just lowering that leg back down. Very good. So we're going to stretch out our hamstrings now. So knee up to the ceiling. We're going to lengthen through the back of the leg, feeling that stretch through the back of the leg here. And we're just going to feel that lengthening through the leg. You can use your just point in, just moving from here. Good. And then just pointing those toes back to the ceiling. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Sinking down. Well done. And then bend at the knee, lower the leg back down. Very good. Okay, we'll do the same on the opposite side. So knee up to the ceiling, going to lengthen through the back of the leg, feeling that stretch through the back here. Holding this stretch, just feeling that lengthening through the back. Brilliant. Breath in and out. Supporting that leg with your hands if you can, or if you want to, just lengthening through. Good. Upper body nice and relaxed, no tension there. Then we'll just change the stretch slightly and point and flex through that ankle. Good. Just moving gently through that ankle, just changing that stretch slightly. Good. And then just pointing those toes back to the ceiling again, lengthening through the back of the leg, holding that stretch. Well done. Breath in and out. On the out breath, relaxing down into that stretch. Good. And again, breath in and out, sinking down. And bending that knee, lowering back down. Very good. Okay, so we're going to come round and come back up into sitting. And we're going to do a few little stretches here to finish off. So either sitting with your legs crossed, or if you prefer your legs out in front, it's up to you. Just making sure you're sitting up nice and tall. That weight's still going evenly down through those sitting bones. Neck's nice and long and lifted, that chin tucked in. Okay, so we're going to bring our hands up to shoulder height, just in that kind of cross-legged position, and we're going to do a few spine twists. So we're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, we're going to turn around to one side. Breath in here. As you breathe out, rotating back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, turning around, breath in. And then back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, coming around, breath in here. And as you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around, breath in here. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around, breath in. And on the out breath, back to that centre. Good. One last time. Breath in. As you breathe out, rotating around, breath in. And out, back to that centre. Relax those arms back down. Good. And relax those shoulders. Okay. So we're just going to do a mermaid stretch from here. So we're going to drop one hand down by our side. Reach with the opposite up and over. Taking breath in here, and as you breathe out, coming back to the centre. Good. And again, breath in. As you breathe out, reaching over. Breath in, and as you breathe out, coming back up and over to that centre. Good. We'll do the same again. So opposite down, down, reach over. Breath in here. As you breathe out, reaching back up and over. Same on the opposite side. Reaching over. Bring that hand down, keeping those sitting bones down towards that floor. Breath in, as you breathe out, back to that. Lovely. One last one each side. So dropping that hand down, reaching over, breath in. As you breathe out, lifting back up to the centre. Good. Last time. Reach over, breath in. As you breathe out, back to that centre. Very good. Relaxing those shoulders. So just going to clasp those hands together. We're going to reach those fingers away. Bring the hands up to shoulder height. Drop that chin down. Look up to those hands, look up together, and open nice and wide. Good. And again, fingers clenched, reaching those fingers away, drop that chin down to your chest. Look up to those fingers, up together to the ceiling, and open wide. Lovely. One last time. Fingers clenched. Fingers away. Up to that shoulder height. Drop that chin down. Look up, up together, and opening nice and wide, and then relaxing. Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us for the class today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Remember, if you've got any comments or feedbacks or questions, you can use our comment section below the video. Otherwise, we hope to see you next time.